Solving quadratic equations. There are four different ways that you can solve these quadratic equations, and they're factoring, taking the square root, completing the square, and using the quadratic formula, and to find how many solutions there are using the discriminant. In the next section, we'll be going over factoring. So we're given a base equation of x squared plus 6x plus 8. And what we're going to do to solve this is we're going to take the factors of 8, which are 4 and 2 and 8 and 1. So we're going to be looking at the positive sign here and the positive sign here. And since they're both positive, you must come to the conclusion where to add these together to get the b value. So here the solutions that we're going to get are 6 and 9. So we'll be using this equation. So here we'll set up our parentheses, and we'll have a 4 here and a 2 here. And since we know they're both positive, we'll be putting an addition sign here and an addition sign here, and an x and an x value. From there, we have to set both of these equations equal to 0. So x plus 4 equals 0, and x plus 2 equals 0. And from there, we'll get our solutions. X is equal to -4, and x is equal to -2.
If a is greater than 1, then you must multiply a by c, and then factor from there.
So in this equation, our a value is greater than 1. So what we're going to do is multiply 3, and -2. So there we get -6. And what we're going to do is what we did before and find the factors, which are 6 and 1 and 3 and 2. So since we have a negative sign here and a positive sign here, a negative sign there, sorry, you must then know that you have to subtract between these two equations. And since this is a positive sign, the greater value, which is 6 or 3, has to be positive. So therefore, we'll get 5 and 1. And since the b value is 5, we'll be using these set of numbers. So from here, we'll do factor by grouping. So we'll have 3x squared plus 6x minus x minus 2. And from there, what we'll do is we'll take it like this. We'll group this and that, and we'll group this and this. And from there, we will break it up into 3x squared plus 6x and -x minus 2. And what we can do is pull out a 3x from here and be remained with have a remainder of x plus 2. And we can pull out a -1 here and have a remainder of x plus 2. And from there, we'll have 3x minus 1 and x plus 2. And what we can do from here is solve these equations by setting them both equal to 0. And there you'll get x is equal to 1/3 and x is equal to -2. Here are two practice problems. You can pause the video and try to solve them. Good. So now we're going to go through the problem. So what you can do is, what we did in the beginning is break up the 9. So the 9 has factors of 9 and 1 and 3 and 3. So to get 6, you have to add 3 and 3. So it's simple as that. So you'll get the solutions of x plus 3 and x plus 3. So therefore, in this situation, you'll only get one solution, which is x equals -3. And this one, it's a little bit more complex. So as we did earlier, we'll be multiplying the 4 and 9 to get 36. And so you break that up into 6 and 6, and 12 and 3, and that's about it. And 9 and 4, sorry. And what you can do from there is see which ones will equal -12. So if it's a plus here, you can then basically say that you can have 2 negatives here or 2 positives. So looking at it since it's a subtraction sign, we'll have 2 negatives. So what we're going to have here is 4x squared minus 6x minus 6x plus 9. So what we'll do is we'll factor it out and we'll solve by grouping. So we can group this and this, this and this, and we'll be solving. And you can take out a 2 here, 2x, and you'll be left with a 2x minus 3, and you can take out a negative 3 here, and you'll be left with 2x minus 3. Sorry. And so once again, similar to the last problem, you have 2x minus 3 squared, and you'll have only one solution, which is 3 over 2.
In this section, you will learn how to take the square root.
Starting with a simple equation, we have x squared is equal to 36. So what you do is you take the square root of both of these sides, and you'll be left with x is equal to 6. But since you can have a negative or positive solution, you'll have plus or minus. So you can have x is equal to 6, x is equal to negative 6.
So you're given the equation x minus 2 squared is equal to 49. And so we're going to take the square root of both sides, and you are left with x minus 2 equal to 7. And since what you learned in the previous equation, it's going to be a positive and negative 7. And then after that, you're going to do simple math and get x is equal to positive and negative 7 plus 2. And here you'll get two different solutions of x is equal to 9 and a negative 5. So problem 1 is going to be your easier equation, and if you need any help with solving it, you can go back to our other video and you can find help there. We will give you the answer in a little bit. And problem 2 is going to be your challenge equation, and we are going to explain how to get to your answer. And if you pause the video here to try and solve it. Okay, so the answer to problem 1 is going to be x is equal to 2 and a negative 8. And so problem 2, the first thing you want to do is subtract 3 from both sides, and then you get 2x squared is equal to 128. And then you want to divide 2 by both sides, and you're going to get x squared is equal to 64. And then you can do that simple method of taking the square root of both sides, and you can get x is equal to a positive and negative 8.
Now we will be completing the square to solve quadratic equations. So as I said earlier, we'll be solving this equation using completing the square. So our equation that is given is x squared minus 10x is equal to negative 12. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our b value, which is negative 10. Don't forget to include this sign. It goes along with their numbers. So what you'll have, so you'll use this equation for completing the square. B over 2 squared. So what we'll do is we will take, as we said, the negative 10. So that is our b value. Negative 10 over 2 squared. So what we get is 25. So what we do from here is x squared minus 10x plus 25 is equal to 13. Because what you do to one side, you must do to the other. And since this is a perfect square, we can figure out that that is x minus 5 squared is equal to 13. So we have our final equation, x minus 5 squared is equal to 13. So similar from taking the square root, we'll be taking the square root of both the sides. And from here we have x minus 5 is equal to plus or minus root 13. And since 13 is not a perfect square, you cannot take the square root of it and get an irrational number. So what we'll do here is we'll get x is equal to plus or minus root 13 plus 5. And that is our final solution.
So here we have a challenge question. If you are up for the challenge, then pause the video here and try it on your own. Okay, So after you have your answer, we're going to go through the steps and see if you've done them correctly. First, what you want to do is subtract x from both sides. And once you've done with that, you're going to get the equation x squared plus 4x minus 6 is equal to 1. And then after this, what you want to do is add 6 to both sides to isolate x squared plus 4x, and then you will be equal to 7. Now after this, what you want to do is complete the square by taking your b value of 4 and doing 4 over 2 squared. And what you're going to get is 4. So x squared plus 4x, and you want to take that 4 and add it to both sides, and you're going to get that equal to 11. And then after this step, what you want to do is then, that perfect square is going to be at x plus 2 squared is equal to 11. So we're left with x plus 2 squared is equal to 11, as shown in the previous video how we got there. And then from here, what you can do is take the square roots of both sides and get x plus 2 is equal to a positive and negative root 11. And then after this, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is subtract 2 from both sides, and you get your answer of x equals a positive and negative root 11 minus 2. If you got that answer, you are correct. If you did not, go back through the steps and try and figure out what you did wrong. Alright, using the quadratic formula and discriminate.
So here we're given the quadratic formula. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So what you'll do is that you're given your equation, and your a, b, and c value will basically get plugged into that equation. And what you do from there is you will just solve it out like it's a regular equation, either using your calculator or by hand.
So here we have the equation 5x squared plus 6x plus 1 is equal to 0. And to solve this, we are going to use the quadratic formula, which we already gave you. So to start out, we're going to do negative 6 plus or minus in square root 6 squared minus 4 times 5 times 1 all over 2 times 5. So here you have everything plugged into your quadratic formula. If you don't know what the quadratic formula is, go back and check our other video.
So from this scenario, we can simplify it. So we'll have x equal negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 36 minus 20 over 10. And from here we can then get to the closer to our solution, which x is equal to negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 16 over 10, and x is equal to negative 6 plus or minus 4 over 10. And basically what we can do is have x equal negative 10 over 10, which is x equals negative 1, or you can have x equal negative 2 over 10, where x equals negative 0.02. So we're going to do a practice problem. Please pause the video so you can go over it and we can start. Alright, good. So what we're going to do is rearrange the equation such that the b value is in the correct place. So negative 5x squared plus 7x plus 9 equals 0. From here, we'll plug it into the quadratic equation. So x equals negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 7 squared minus, so 4ac, which is minus 4. A is negative 5, and C is 9, over negative 10. So from here now what we're going to do is simplify. So we'll have x equals negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 49 plus, because there's two negatives, 180 over 10. And so what we're going to do is continue simplifying. Sorry, this is 180. And we'll have x equals negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 229 over 10. And that is your solution because you cannot simplify it anymore. Using the discriminant. So to use the discriminant, you use this equation, b squared minus 4ac. So basically, you're given your quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus c. So that's any standard one. So what you do is you plug in your values into its respective location, and what you get will give you the number of solutions that you have. So if you have a positive solution, you'll have 2 solutions overall in your equation. If you have a negative solution, you'll have 0 solutions. And if you have a solution which is equal to 0 from the discriminant, then you'll have 1 solution. Simple as that.
Okay, now this is an equation for the discriminant, which is b squared minus 4ac. So we take the b value, which in this case is 3. So 3 squared minus 4 times the a value, 2, times the c value, which is 1. So this will be 9 minus 8, and the answer will be 1. Since the solution is positive, you'll have 2 solutions.
Oh, hell yeah. Classifying polynomial functions and characteristics.